Hello and welcome to F3 on 4 from Croft. We're back in the northeast for the 8th round of the Green Flag British Formula 3 Championship, the series that thrust Jenson Button into his Formula 1 seat with Williams, saw Luciano Berti driving a Jaguar in Austria, and could see this year's title favourite, Antônio Pizzonia, driving a Benetton next year. But we're going to start today's programme by taking a look back at the last round, which was a double-header at Donington with Martin Haven.
Donington probably smelt the end of Tomas Scheckter's challenge for this year's Formula 3 title. He needed to make up ground on Antônio Pizzonia, but in fact fell a further 26 points behind. How did it happen? Well, Pizzonia converted pole into another win, but this clash for Tomas on the green flag lap of the first race at Donington meant an early pit stop from which he was unable to get even a point for fastest lap. Scott Andrew Kirkcaldy qualified second for both races, and although he dropped back after a clash with Jimmy Bruni in the first, he led the second until Nicolas Kiesa found a way through. The Dane then converted his second pole position into a win, his first of the year, much to the delight of his team, who celebrated in very Italian fashion, while Pizzonia came home in third. So in the championship table, the Brazilian now has a 45-point lead over Scheckter with just 105 points to play for, but it's getting closer for third place. In the scholarship class, another 2 wins leave Gary Paffett a tantalising 2 points off the title, but assured of taking the £125,000 prize for next year's budget in the championship class.
Before it was remodelled, Croft was a really fast circuit, and we're here out in the back section with Tomas Scheckter, who's going to tell us a little bit about some of these really fast sections. Thomas, we're here at Tower, and this is actually a really important corner, isn't it?
Yeah, the corner leads onto a fast straight at the back where you go through some fast corners, so it's important to get good exit speed.
Now, coming down, you're obviously coming down a sort of fairly long bit of straight. What sort of speeds are you doing?
About 140, 150 mile an hour. Obviously at that stage the car gets settled quite a bit, you go over a bump, but I think the main thing is to get a good exit.
Now, talking about the exit, you're obviously going down, and this is where the speed really starts to pick up, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you want to be getting on your power about mid-corner over here. The apex is exactly middle of this corner, and by that stage you want to be hard on the power leading onto the back straight.
Croft's also quite bumpy. Do you suffer much from that down here?
Yeah, not a problem so much here, but maybe more into sunny.
To get a fuller idea of what Croft is like, Ben Collins, a winner at Donington earlier this year, takes us round a complete lap, riding on board with his teammate Takuma Sato.
Just going through the hairpin, down into first or second gear, I think he's in second, onto the pit straight, second to third, the blue lights flash each time for a gear change, just coming past the start-finish straight, up into fifth gear, anytime soon, he's in fifth now, heading towards one of the fastest corners, down to fourth gear, 95 mile an hour corner into the chicane, down to third or second, short shift up to fourth gear, and the lights turn blue, up to fourth, through the chicane, which is incredibly bumpy, so his hands are all over the place, trying to control the car, straight back into fifth gear, up to about 120, 130, approaching 140 up into the Tower corner, really hard on the brakes, down to third gear, is a big bump, still carrying his speed to the apex, and it's really important the exit speed here, which he's done very well. He's catching what looks like a Renault car, up into fifth again. Another fast part of the track, up to 120 to 130. All this stuff is completely flat, easy flat in a Formula 3 car. Full lights there, so maximum revs in fifth. Down to fourth gear for Sunny. Very bumpy again, using all the road. He's almost onto the grass, flat through Sunny too. Straight back into fifth gear. Still catching the car in front. Down to fourth, 80 mile an hour corner. Takuma's always been very quick here. Down to second gear. And approaching the hairpin again. Back into third, a little bit sideways. And the really, really tight hairpin, that's absolutely full lock he's got. Back up to third, heading towards the start-finish straight again. Up to fourth, starting another lap.
It's been a dream season for Gary Paffett and his Young Guns team. They've scored maximum points in every round. And although Christian Colombo could in theory outscore him, the Italian is not eligible for the big money prize.
Winning the scholarship class would maintain an impressive run of success for the 20-year-old from Hoddesdon. He graduated from karting as the junior ICA champion of the future in '96, before picking up titles in Formula Vauxhall Junior and Formula Vauxhall in the last 2 years. The latter success brought him the coveted BRDC McLaren Autosport Young Driver Award before his switch to Formula 3 with Martin Hines' Young Guns team.
It's been excellent. We've had a great year up to now. We worked really hard. It was a bit of a struggle to start with because we didn't do a lot of testing before the first round, and we chucked into the deep end really. But we worked really hard, and it's been really good for us.
The £125,000 prize has to go towards the budget for a place in the British Formula 3 Championship next year. So Gary is trying to catch the eye of the top team managers.
We look to do S3 within the next sort of 2 years, and the year doing this has made all of the S3 team managers sit up and look at this.
When you're actually looking at new recruits, do you look at the scholarship class or do you look elsewhere?
Well, look everywhere, but of course Gary's more than caught the eye this year.
And what do you think of him, and where do you think he's going to go?
Well, I hope he's in the A-class next year. He's doing a fantastic job, and I'm sure with this prize money he'll find him in an A-class car next year.
We look everywhere, really. Not just in Britain either. There's Europe, various championships, Brazil. So, but the scholarship class obviously is a good indication of how good a driver could be.
And what do you think of Gary?
I think he's fantastic.
So now they're sitting up noticing. Who are you going to be with next year?
I don't know. I wish I knew. There's a few teams that are the best to be at, either Stewart, Manor or Carling look about them, but the best 3 teams out there at the moment. They've got the right packages behind them, so any of them 3 teams would be ideal for us, really.
Back in April, Nicolas Kiesa took pole position here, and since then he's converted his second pole into a race win, so he's going to be the one to watch in qualifying. Can he make it 3? Here's Martin Haven.
There was to be no repeat pole for Nicolas. 4th in the first session was only improved to 3rd in the second.
Are you disappointed, or are you happy with the way things are going so far?
No, I think I can still win from 3rd. I just need to get my act together in the starts.
Well, the Dane wasn't beaten by championship leader Antônio Pizzonia. The Brazilian back in 10th in the morning, and an engine change only helped him up as far as 5th in the afternoon.
I improved my time, but unfortunately it was not enough to be on the front row. But anyway, I think from 5th we still can race from there, not from 10th.
The honour of pole went to who else but Takuma Sato, a 5th of a second faster than Kiesa's April pole time and his second pole of the season.
Well, car was excellent, and then track condition is pretty good because there's the cooler and the massive grip, so I done it.
Sato's teammate Ben Collins slipped from 2nd to 4th in the afternoon when both Kiesa and Tomas Scheckter went faster. After his Donington disaster, the South African was happy to be back on the front row, especially given his controversial foray into Formula 3000 with the McLaren Junior team.
Well, everybody, I think I've been getting a bit of slack from people saying, well, you won't adapt properly and why is he doing it? And for me, it's a lot of experience. I've come back and I've shown I can be quick immediately, and I think it's good for me, I think.
There was a new face at ADR, Marcos Ambrose taking over from Wesley Barber and immediately giving Alan Docking's team their best qualifying place of the season.
This is only my really 4th day in the car, so you know, every time I get in the car I have more confidence, I get more comfortable. We're still changing simple things like seat position, pedal position. I've had some experience now in France, and I've had very good starts in France, but maybe they were sleeping over there, I don't know, but I'm sure it's going to be a bit tougher here.
Only 2 drivers managing to dip into the 1-minute 13s. That's the front row, Sato and Scheckter. Kiesa, Collins, Pizzonia and new boy Ambrose next up. Pole in the scholarship class again for Gary Paffett. He'll start 15th, the rest of them from 18th down.
Well, the cars are doing their formation lap now, and I found former Formula 3 race winner Darren Manning. Darren, what are you doing here?
Well, I've got a week off from all my testing in the BAR Formula 1 car, my European 3000 racing. Just come to cheer on my best mate Andy Priaulx, really. I come home for a weekend to see my folks in Yorkshire, and they weren't here, so came along here.
Now, what's it like when you're sitting in the car just at the start of the race?
Well, it's quite difficult, really. You know, you're not really thinking about anything else apart from the lights going from red to green. You know, you're concentrating really hard. The adrenaline's pumping. Your heart rate's probably, you know, about 180 beats per minute. So things are getting a bit heated.
Well, find out how they get on in a couple of minutes in F3 on 4. Welcome back to F3 on 4 in the 8th round of the green flag British Formula 3 Championship. The race is about to begin, so we'll go to join Martin Haven.
Sato and Scheckter on the front row, the revs rise, the red lights are on, green, away they go. All bit of bunching there, slow start by Ambrose and Pavlovich in the middle of the field. And there is Martin O'Connell going very slowly, riding with Marcos Ambrose. He was 6th on the grid, nearly lost it with too much wheel spin, and then the engine died. Through the first couple of corners, they all go nice and safely. On board with Gianmaria Bruni. He's following Antônio Pizzonia through the chicane. Pizzonia slices at him. Oh my goodness me! Antônio Pizzonia, the championship leader, in desperate trouble at the start of this race at Croft. On board with Bruni, he's still got the nose wing on the car as he fights with Marcos Ambrose, so it looks as though he's got away unscathed. The Aussie gets back ahead of the Italian though. Bruni on the radio, his left thumb on the button on the steering wheel. Well, there is Ambrose with Bruni and Kirkcaldy right behind him, the rest of the field streaming through. And here are the leaders: Sato, Scheckter, Kiesa and Collins. Ambrose in 5th, Bruni in 6th place, Kirkcaldy and everybody else in 7th. And there is Pizzonia, only just inside the top 20, I think, and behind the scholarship class leaders. Gary Paffett in the middle of the battle. There's Narain, Karthikeyan. The white car in 13th place on the grid. Lots of wheel banging here as desperate outbraking manoeuvres are made on this first lap. Oh, and Pizzonia's off on the dirt. It's going from bad to worse. And for Bruni as well. Look at that. The left front nose wing broken and flapping about uselessly. And in the high-speed corners, that'll mean no downforce. That's very bad news indeed for him. He'll be losing grip, and Andrew Kirkcaldy is about to capitalise if he has half a chance. There is the Scot in the dark blue machine, dives down the inside into tower. So the Scot moves up into 6th position, and a big battle behind. There is the scholarship class leader, champion-elect Gary Paffett, right in the middle of it. There is Ambrose, then Kirkcaldy, and Bruni really in trouble now as Pavlovich lines him up, trying to make a move down the inside. Through he goes. Next up is Andy Priaulx. Through he goes. Well, Bruni really in trouble under braking here. Gets out of Sunny. Here we go, the field streaming away. Oh, changes up early. Now he's adjusting the brake balance on the car. Went up 2 gears instead of 1, so he's lost another couple of places there. What he's doing is making the rear brakes work harder and the front brakes work slightly less because he hasn't got as much grip at the front as he's used to. Oh, and yes, he's right behind Narain. Karthikeyan managed to stop, but then accelerated too quickly and hit him up the backside. So more damage done to the car. He still hasn't got that right. The Manor Motorsport team with the board for Pizzonia in 16th. There is Scheckter in 2nd place. Ben Collins there in 4th position. His teammate Takuma Sato is the leader, of course. Sato easing away at the front of the field. There he is. Scheckter in 2nd place. Pizzonia out of the points in 16th. A reverse of the situation at Donington. Maybe that Formula 3000 race has done Scheckter some good. Second yellow Renault car of Matt Davis being followed very closely by the scholarship champion-elect Gary Paffett. There he is in the red machine. Still Pizzonia further down the order than that even. The Brazilian with a lot of work to do here. Paffett goes through shot, and behind Bruni with the broken nose, there is Pizzonia. Ryan Walker goes inside the Thai driver Torshir Charvanen. Slips by him under braking. And there is Gianmaria Bruni, still fighting a rearguard action. Irish driver Warren Carway climbing all over the back of him, and there's the championship points leader next up, Martin O'Connell behind him. But the Brazilian in the black and green car holds the inside line, and O'Connell won't get through there. Bruni, though, peeling off into the pits. Yes, he is. Time for a new nose cone and to get out of everybody's way. And he is crawling down at 60 kilometers an hour. That's the speed limit here in the pit lane. You can see that damaged front end, and they would surely have black flagged him to bring him in for that if he hadn't decided to come in. This isn't going to be a quick job either. Not the work of a moment to change the front end on these machines. The Fortec mechanics will work as quickly as they can. Here comes the championship leader then. Car number 1, Antônio Pizzonia behind Warren Carway still as the Irish driver runs out onto the dirt. But Martin O'Connell's gone by them both. You wouldn't expect it to take too long for the Brazilian to go by either. Well, he's got the scholarship class runners right behind as they come down to the complex. Looks as though Pizzonia is having a real weekend from hell here. Engine change in qualifying. Oh, and a collision as well again now with Warren Carway. and he's in the middle of a traffic jam. The Irish driver, justifiably, I think, remonstrating with him. Torsia Charvanen also involved, and Pizzonia's got a broken wing. Look, left front nose wing missing. That's exactly what happened to Gianmaria Bruni. He has lost a lap and a half in the pits, and this is why. Lap 1, there's Pizzonia, big slide, gathers it all up just, but Bruni can't avoid him, absolutely unable to do anything. Bruni's race ruined, and Pizzonia's as well from that one little mistake. Well, here is the Brazilian, and he'll be heading into the pits of the Manor Motorsport team, I'm sure. His only option now, a new wing, and to try and get a point for fastest lap. The battle in those that missed him in the scholarship class. Mark Mayle leads Craig Fleming at Sushi Katsumata. A newcomer there is the Italian Enzo Bucaglia, and in comes Pizzonia. Well, the team will change the nose, but John Booth looking at the back of the car where he was hit by Bruni. Maybe there's some derangement in the rear suspension. Certainly Pizzonia's obviously been on the radio to say he doesn't think it's handling right. Well, here is his rival, Tomas Scheckter. 5 seconds behind race leader Sato, but 2 or 3 ahead of Kiesa, all rather static at the front. Good news for Scheckter, bad news though for Pizzonia. Back into the race he goes, and he'll be a lap down. Sato in a class of his own, one race for him and one for everybody else. Fastest lap of the race at the moment goes to him, 1 minute 14.2, and almost all of his laps are that quick. Craig Fleming running back to his car after stalling. He's putting the steering wheel back on to help it being moved, and Amanda's with John Booth.
John, what happened?
The first incident, Bruni hit the back of him going through the chicane on the first lap. Then when he was trying to recover, he clashed with one of the Alpha Club cars, I'm not sure which one. So he's got broken rear diffuser and a broken front wing as well.
Is he all right?
It's fine. The only thing he can do is drive a fastest lap. That's the only thing he can do now.
Pizzonia, of course, is John Booth's driver. There is Craig Fleming walking back in. And there is Gary Paffett on his way to that scholarship. Michael Bentwood with Narain Karthikeyan trying a move behind him and not trying it very convincingly. The Indian really bottled up there. Andrew Kirkcaldy now hot on the heels of Marcos Ambrose. The Aussie leads the Scot. This is the battle for 5th. Riding with Ambrose. First race in the British Formula 3 Championship ever for him. Kirkcaldy vastly experienced. So are these two, Bentwood and Karthikeyan, and oh my goodness me! That's Matt Davis in a spin. No mistake. What did he do there? I think he must have put a wheel on the outside on the dirt, spun right across the track and back on again. Well, he's lost a handful of places there. Gary Paffett and Michael Bentwood and Narain Karthikeyan all going past him. And it'll take him a while, I think, to calm down after that one. Poor Matt Davis, that will give him a bit of a fright. Well, here again, yes, there, Davis did definitely drop a wheel off on the outside, but then it was just spat across the road. Paffett goes through, and then the rather uninteresting battle, I'm afraid, between those two. Riding again with Gianmaria Bruni, chasing Warren Carway. Through the chicane he's gone, and this is the run-up to Tower, and he's got the Irishman before he gets on the brakes. And Bruni now with that news front nose wing will have wound the braking effect back up to the front wheels, because that's where you get maximum retardation as the car goes down on its nose under braking. Gary Paffett miles ahead of the scholarship class runners. P9 and T10, 9th place and 10 minutes to go. There's Trevor Carlin, he's looking happy, but go away, he says, I don't want the jinx. His car's P1 there, Takuma Sato, and P4 for Ben Collins. Small sandwich break before there is Tomas Scheckter, the white car, second in shot. There is Pizzonia, 2 laps down. Not the performance his mother, his sister or his girlfriend would come to expect from him. And still scratching of heads at Manor Motorsport. Well, Pizzonia about to be caught now by Nicolas Kiesa, who's 3rd overall, so he's been lapped by Scheckter as well. And look at that, Pizzonia on the inside, very, very slow indeed. He's definitely coming back into the pits. Well, I wonder what they can do about this. There is Pavlovich and Priaulx. Now, those two have been battling since the beginning of the race, and they are still hard at it. Priaulx still can't get by. Oh, dear, and to add insult to injury, he's spun it. And is that Gary Paffett going by? Yes, it is. Paffett now up to 8th, Priaulx down to 9th, and Michael Bentwood and Narain Karthikeyan unable to make any inroads on each other, now right behind him. So Priaulx with, oh my goodness, just escaping the gravel that claimed Karthikeyan earlier in the season. Priaulx really unsettled by that little spin. I wonder if perhaps that's an indication that something wrong with the car, like maybe a slow puncture. Whatever, Bentwood's got by him, Karthikeyan now looking to do the same on the run down to Tower, sells him the dummy. Through he goes. Priaulx locks up that right front wheel. And his tyres marking up quite badly. Teammate Matt Davis comes alongside and rubs his way by. And it is all over for Antônio Pizzonia. Eradicate this one with Tipex from the diary. Not a weekend that he will want to remember. Well, John Booth goes out to see what's happening to the rest of the field, including, of course, this man's teammate. Karthikeyan's teammate Scheckter in second place. And unlike at Donington, where Scheckter had a dreadful time and Pizzonia racked up the points, it's definitely a reversal of fortunes here for the South African and the Brazilian. And into the pits does come Priaulx, and I think the Guernseyman will be retiring here. And here is why. Let's look again. All over the curves at Hawthorns, and really damaged the car there. Well, let's find out from the horse's mouth.
Andy, what happened?
Well, made a good start, and then I ran a bit wide on the exit of the second corner, and then Pizzonia spun in front of me, and I lost a lot of places. And from then on, I was just fighting to get back.
Well, he looks pretty dischuffed, doesn't he? So too, I'm sure, Pizzonia, but not Takuma Sato. A dominant pole position and a crushing display, a big, exuberant slide of celebration out of the final hairpin, weaves his way across the line to the checkered flag and stops to greet the Carlin Motorsport team. Well, they and he, I'm sure, are delighted, and so too will be Gary Paffett's Young Guns team. They congratulate the first champion of the new millennium. Congratulations indeed to the young man from Hoddesdon. Well, he wins the scholarship class and £125,000 towards next year's budget. And here is the result then. Sato all over the opposition. Scheckter scoring well in second, and Marcos Ambrose fifth in his first race in British Formula 3. And Gary Paffett over a minute ahead of anybody else in the scholarship class.
Well, Takuma, many, many congratulations there.
Thank you very much.
What was the race like?
Well, at the start, I was nearly stalled. There was so much grip, but it was a good start, obviously. And then the pushing.
Now you're in this fantastic position of having won the scholarship award for the season. What are you going to do next year?
We'll be back next year for the Championship Class F3, hopefully, in the Power Tour Series. And with who, we don't know yet. We're going to look around now, but now we've still this championship, it's going to make it a bit easier, I think.
Antonio, this has really been a weekend from hell for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was very disappointing, especially because I'm fighting for the championship, but I mean, I'm a racing driver, and I think you need to be ready for everything. I think that happens, and it's going to happen again in the future, so I think you need to be ready.
So Pizzonia's lead cut by a third from 45 to now 30 points over Scheckter. Sato jumps up to third place with that victory. And Gary Paffett continues with his perfect scorecard. He's now crowned scholarship class champion. Christian Colombo heads the fight for the other points.
So 2/3 of the way through the season, and Tomas Scheckter's hopes on the title have been rekindled. Congratulations to Takuma Sato for winning the race, and of course to Gary Paffett for winning the scholarship class. The next stop for the Power Tours is going to be at Silverstone, and you can see that in F3 on 4 in September. But until then, goodbye.
You won't have to wait until September to see Amanda. She's back in a minute with more high-octane action from Donington, this time in GT on 4.